You're a close friend or family member. People close to those living with addiction are also affected by the situation and the disease. They try to help the sick person as much as they can. However, despite the best intentions, it often makes no difference. And friends and family end up suffering too. They feel sad, scared, and helpless. There are things you can do to help the sick person change their situation. But most importantly, you need to take care not to overburden yourself. Dare to think of yourself. There are avenues of help open to you. Many other people are in the same situation as you. Don't try to go through it alone. Ask for help. There are professionals and support groups available to help you. Addiction is a disease. Addiction is a disease of the brain. Consuming substances or indulging in certain behaviors cause nerve cells to change gradually. The reward system no longer responds in the same way. The brain craves the sensations provided by the addictive substances or behavior. The sick person can no longer function without them. Addiction is a disease that affects willpower. This is what makes it so difficult to overcome an addiction. It is not a lack of willpower that prevents someone from stopping. It's the disease itself. You are not responsible. Those close to a person living with addiction can often feel guilty, and some feel responsible for the disease. This can lead them to want to help at all costs. There are multiple causes of addiction related to the substance consumed, the type of behavior, the person's history and environment, societal values, and many other variables. You are not responsible, either for the disease or its cure. Also, addicted people are not responsible for their disease, but it is up to them to initiate the change. Numerous professionals are available to help. Take a step back. Look after yourself. Rediscover your own role. Dare to talk about it. Many people find it difficult to come up with the right words to discuss problems of addiction. Some are afraid of causing hurt, and so don't dare to say anything. Others worry that the sick person will end up digging their heels in and getting angry. But if nobody says anything, then nothing changes, and the situation can only get worse. Taking a stand can get things moving. Face up to the situation. It's important to talk about it. To make the conversation easier, be prepared and choose the right moment. Ask questions, share your views, and voice your concerns. In this way, a conversation can be started on equal footing. Dare to hold them accountable. Those close to people living with addiction often think that by shouldering their responsibilities, they are helping them. By seeking to protect their loved ones, they inadvertently facilitate their addiction. There is no impetus for the sick person to seek change. The person can carry on using or behaving as before without having to face the consequences. Make the person living with addiction accept personal responsibility. It is not up to you to find solutions. It is up to the people living with addiction to bear the consequences of their behavior. Being confronted with the results of their actions can make them aware of the situation and want to change it. Dare to set boundaries. Close friends or family members of people living with addiction often don't dare to set boundaries for fear of hurting them. They witness situations they find unbearable. In many cases, they're unable to trust the person living with addiction. Those close to people living with addiction tolerate things that upset them. Some even put up with violence. Take a step back. Ask yourself the necessary questions. Is it acceptable to put up with this? What needs to stop? Set boundaries and explain what needs to change. Say what makes you feel uncomfortable. Say what causes you to suffer. Setting boundaries will protect you. They'll give you back some space. Dare to be happy. By focusing their attention on their loved one, family members or close friends of people living with addiction forget about themselves. They use up all their energy trying to help the other person. All their thoughts are focused on the problem at hand. They are no longer aware of their own needs, desires, and happiness. They don't take time for themselves, and their well-being deteriorates. Allow yourself to take back what you've set aside. Give yourself more time and space. Do the things you like. You'll feel better. Don't put your own life on hold. Dare to ask for help. Those close to people living with addiction often don't dare to speak about their situation. They feel ashamed. They fear the scrutiny and judgment of others. They don't want to harm the sick person. Those who are close to people living with addiction are suffering too. They shoulder this difficult situation alone. Don't let yourself be engulfed by shame or fear. Addiction is a disease that affects many people, also those close to the person living with addiction. Come out of isolation. Ask for help. Professionals and support groups are there for you. Relatives and addiction.ch